Hola, ¿cómo están amigos? Feliz 2021, estamos empezando un nuevo ciclo. Es emocionante, vamos a ver qué nos trae este nuevo año, este nuevo periodo de tiempo. Y bueno, pues empezamos con toda la actitud, cumplimos un año de estar haciendo pláticas y de estarles compartiendo justamente estas MDWeekend Inspiration. Empezamos el año pasado con un video de música que surgió como idea para empezar a platicarles que hay muchas salidas para hacer maquillaje, para hacer efectos especiales, no solamente las películas. Y bueno, pues así empezamos compartiendo un video de música y ya se volvió como una bonita costumbre, una bonita tradición, una bonita manera de también tener un contacto con ustedes, platicándoles sobre lo que más nos gusta hacer. Entonces, bueno, pues justamente para empezar este año, para empezar este 2021, pues lo que queremos hacer es platicarles un poco sobre las películas que han ganado premios de la Academia o Óscares. Son varias películas, pero nosotros escogimos solamente 5 basadas en, pues, prácticamente en películas que a nosotros nos gustan y escogimos 5 de ellas. Ahora vamos a hacer un pequeño recuento por la historia de, pues, estos premios de la Academia. Pero antes que empecemos, pues les presento a nuestros colegas con los que hemos estado haciendo estas pláticas. Gabriel, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo están, chicos? Espero que este año sí sea mejor y sobre todo no tengamos este hueco enorme en la cinematografía, ¿no?
Sí.
Entonces, el cine siempre salvando nuestra cordura. Espero que todos estén muy bien, sigan a MDW y espero les guste esta charla.
Gracias, Gabriel. Y Kevin, how are you?
Hola. I'm good. I'm here in my new home, which is an RV in Texas.
La Tortuga.
I'm closer and closer to Mexico.
Sí.
Yes, the Tortuga. But I just wanted to say we haven't done this for a few weeks. It's good to see you guys again. I love you both, and I miss you, and it's so nice to see you.
Yes, same. Okay, pues let's start with
Totally.
I see. We have this period like to rest a little bit and to get into our heads that it's going to be a new year and that every to get together everything what happened in 2020. But now we are starting, and like I said, it's a new period of time that begins, and let's see what brings.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, let's start then with the Kevin. Can you please
Yes.
Tell us about how or what was the first awards, or how did it started?
Yeah, there was a tradition with the Academy Awards of regular categories of Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, Best Picture, that sort of thing. They would give out honorary Academy Awards for like special effects or makeup. In 1948, Willis O'Brien, who did King Kong, in 1948, he got an honorary Oscar for Mighty Joe Young. For makeup, for special effects. For makeup in 1965, William Tuttle got an honorary Academy Award for The Seven Faces of Dr. Lowe. And in 68, John Chambers got one for Planet of the Apes. But it wasn't until An American Werewolf in London, Rick Baker got the first of the regular Oscars for makeup. It became a regular category. And now it's very common. People don't think there's makeup and special effects and sound edit. You know, there's Oscars for everything now. But Rick got it for the first regular one. He was actually up against Stan Winston that year for
Nice.
a movie called Heartbeeps, which had they were like human-looking robots, and Stan made these gelatin prosthetics. But the movie kind of flopped, and Werewolf had much more work put into it and was much more successful. So it's kind of Academy Award politics. Of course, it's going to go to Rick, and deservedly so.
Entonces,
and so that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no.
I was going to say that was my suggestion for this week's talk, and also because I have a personal connection to the movie. I worked on it, and I'm in it, so that was my suggestion.
It's your baby.
It's Rick's baby, but I have a little small part in it. So.
Sí, claro.
But you have feelings for it.
Exactly.
I do. I do very much.
Nice. Okay, so prácticamente lo que nos platica Kevin es que, bueno, desde que empezaron los premios de la Academia había categorías, los que ya conocemos, ¿no? Director, actor, actriz de reparto, todos estos, pero no existía la categoría de maquillaje o de efectos especiales, o bueno, en este caso que también incluye la parte de peluquería y todo esto, ¿no? Pero sí había algunos premios honorarios, bueno, en español más o menos así, no sé exactamente cuál sea el término en español, pero eran
honorarios.
Honorary Awards. Y hubieron 3 personas que ganaron estos premios. Which one was the first, Kevin? I forgot the first honorary.
For makeup?
Sí.
It was William Tuttle. Who was Bill Tuttle for Seven Faces of Dr. Lowe. And there was a lot of special effects in makeup.
Okay, entonces William Tuttle, then John Chambers.
Planet of the Apes. John Chambers.
Sí, John Chambers with Planet of the Apes, and then there was another, like el otro que me interesa mucho también mencionar es el de Mighty Mike Young, Mighty Mike Joe.
Mighty Joe Young.
Ese.
There was a remake 10, 15 years ago, whatever. It's a big gorilla.
Ajá. Y es bonito porque todo está hecho con stop motion. Entonces también eso es lo interesante de mencionar que pues se le dio un premio honorario a esta película. Y I forgot the name of the person. Kevin, help me.
The animator was Willis O'Brien.
Willis O'Brien.
And it was also, Willis O'Brien was in charge of Mighty Joe Young. He was the overall special effects boss. But it was also Ray Harryhausen's first movie.
Ray Harryhausen. Ese es el
who did, and Ray Harryhausen went on to do Jason and the Argonauts and Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, and famous in his own career.
Sí, ya en algunos otros publicaciones de MDW lo hemos mencionado y hemos compartido algunos incluso videos de YouTube que están por ahí de Hausen. El trabajo es increíble, el señor tenía una paciencia para hacer las cosas, para fabricar todos los títeres, los puppets, para poder moverlos, para que realmente todo fuera perfecto en el movimiento. Entonces, bueno, también por eso es importante como mencionarlo de nuevo, ¿no?
And if you're a fan of movies and you want to see someone who's dedicated to creating these fantastic images, watch a stop motion movie, watch King Kong or Mighty Joe Young or any of the Ray Harryhausen movies, and it's a performance one frame at a time. It's amazing when you think about what went into creating all of that. It's crazy.
Sí, dice Kevin que si realmente son fan o les gusta muchísimo el cine, pues echen un clavado a estas películas de stop motion o animación que son como de las primeras, ¿no? King Kong, Mighty Joe. This is so difficult in English.
All that means, his name is, the gorilla is just nicknamed Joe.
Joe.
And the girl that nicknames him Joe, her name is Jill Young. So she just, like, he's her brother, so he's Joe Young, but he's mighty. He's, mighty, like strong. So he's Mighty Joe Young.
Joe Young.
That's all.
Sí, el poderoso Joe.
Mighty Joe.
Básicamente.
Y bueno, pues justamente estas son algunas recomendaciones si son amantes del cine.
Yeah, and in comparison, sometimes it's almost easier just to glue some prosthetics on somebody and have them go out there and perform compared to you make a puppet that's this big,
claro.
And you have to maintain it and repair it and move it one frame. And I digress into stop motion, but I'm such a huge fan of that. It's amazing.
Sí, prácticamente dice Kevin, sí, es maravilloso cuando puedes poner prostéticos o maquillaje y mandar al actor a escena, pero es totalmente otra experiencia cuando tienes un títere al que piensen, o sea, hay que moverle el ojito un poquito, la mano, el dedito, o sea, todo es se vuelve más... Sí.
La conciencia del movimiento, ¿no?
Exacto.
O sea, de todos los movimientos que hacemos nosotros, tener la conciencia en ponerlo y trasladarlo a alguien más es muy complicado.
Sí, exactamente.
Okay, we're going to have to title this Academy Award winning Oscar, winning makeups and a little stop motion.
But that's what we always do. We end up talking about stop motion.
Yeah. It's awesome. But okay. Yeah, back to Rick.
No, wait, because no terminé. I didn't finish. I didn't even mention about that. Bueno, entonces teníamos esos tres ganadores y bueno, aparte teníamos como estos otros que mencionamos de Mighty Joe Young y las películas sí, con stop motion, ¿no? Pero justamente American Werewolf in London o Hombre Lobo Americano en Londres es la primera película que tiene un lugar en las categorías de los Óscares, ¿no? Fue en 1982 justamente que pues Rick Baker gana el primer Óscar formalmente en los Óscares. Y bueno, pues justamente escogimos esta película por esto, porque es la primera en la categoría de maquillaje que gana un Oscar y porque Kevin pues formó parte de este equipo de maquillistas y de creadores en el equipo de Rick Baker, ¿no? Okay, now you go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and it was also groundbreaking because before that, the transformations were done with optical effects, like a dissolve. Like in the 1940s when Lon Chaney Jr. turned into the Wolfman, they would add a little bit, film a little bit and edit it and dissolve it so it looked like he was changing. But you could tell it was an optical effect, it was but they had no other way of doing it. Rick is such a genius with makeup effects. He had thought about it. It's like, what if we made like a head that would actually move? We could make a realistic looking head that could actually stretch out and transform. And he had been thinking about that for a while, and that's what he ended up making, and we built all that for American Werewolf in London. And it turned into also like the hand stretching and the hair growing and the spinal cord popping out, and it wasn't an optical effect. It was actually a physical thing transforming.
Okay.
And that influenced movies for a long time, that everyone put like moving things in for the next 10 years.
Okay, entonces bueno, comenta Kevin que justamente antes había efectos ópticos o visuales al momento de hacer las películas, como de construir poquito a poquito y hacer transformaciones construyendo o añadiendo ciertos materiales al rostro. Y esa era la única manera en la que lo podían hacer en ese entonces. Pero justamente Rick Baker tenía tanto talento y tanta creatividad para hacer maquillaje, pues que él dijo, bueno, ¿por qué no justamente hacemos mecanismos en donde no tengamos que estar construyendo poco a poco, sino que justamente se hagan estas transformaciones de una sola vez, ¿no? Entonces es en una de la primera película tal vez en donde vemos esta combinación de mecanismos con títeres y con también maquillajes y efectos especiales, y pues vemos cómo se transforma el hocico, no va saliendo, el pelo cómo va creciendo, todo esto. Entonces pues justamente es lo que hace y esta película pues ¿cómo se dice? Inspira a muchas otras más películas por los siguientes 10 años, ¿no? Y hasta la fecha, o sea, hay muchísimos maquillistas, como ya lo hemos platicado, y gente que quiere aprender porque por ejemplo, vi un video de Michael Jackson, que pues al final de cuentas está inspirado en American Werewolf y quiere ser algo así, ¿no? Entonces, bueno, pues hasta la fecha sigue siendo una gran inspiración. Y bueno, pues justamente es por eso que gana el Oscar. So this is why he wants the Oscar.
That's why And thinking about it now, that you would make a fake head that would stretch might seem very obvious. It's like, well, yeah, we'll just do that. Yeah. But it wasn't that obvious. You know, it might even seem a little bit quaint now with all the CGI stuff that we're so used to, where you can do anything. But in 1980, that was kind of revolutionary thinking, that Rick was that level of makeup artist like Dick Smith, where you could kind of think outside the box. You could take it to the next level like that. And really, that's what I think just blew people away and earned Rick the Academy Award, and deservedly so. That you could take what was like something, a guy turning into a werewolf you've seen a million times, you know, with Lon Chaney Jr., and turn it into something brand new and exciting to look at, you know, and kind of revolutionary. And yes, if there's any fans of Michael Jackson's Thriller video out there, it would not exist had there not been an American Werewolf in London, because Michael was a fan of the movie and he wanted to do something like that for his Thriller video. And that's why that exists the way it does.
Exactly. So yes, pues...
And I worked on both.
Sí, Kevin trabajó en las dos, tanto en American Werewolf como en el video de Thriller. De hecho, él tiene un cameo en el video musical. No sale bailando, o sea, no imaginen como que Kevin va a estar acá de pero sí sale pero sí hace una buena participación rompiendo el piso y saliendo así todo zombiesco. Pues bueno, justamente la aportación que dio Rick Baker en esta película del werewolf, pareciera como que era algo muy obvio, ¿no? Como que sí, claro, vamos a hacer algo que se estire, ¿no? En ese entonces, en 1980, no era tan sencillo. Ahora tal vez lo podemos ver porque ya tenemos mucho CGI, cosas hechas por computadora, pero pues en ese entonces no lo tenían, ¿no? Entonces, pues justamente eso fue lo que hizo que le dieran el primer premio de la Academia, y bueno, pues también que estaban en un nivel muy alto, justo también como pues Dick Smith, ¿no? Que voy a tomarme de aquí para pasar a la siguiente película que escogimos. No es precisamente la siguiente que ganó un Oscar, pero sí está muy cerca en los años, que es Amadeus, mencionando un poco a Dick Smith. Pues bueno, justamente Amadeus gana el premio de la Academia por Óscares en 1985, y es un trabajo en conjunto de Dick Smith y de Paul, ¿no? I forgot the last name of Paul, I just remember his name.
Paul LeBlanc.
Paul LeBlanc, sí.
Paul LeBlanc.
So we can start, like I jumped a little bit to Amadeus because you mentioned Dick Smith, and I just took it from there. Huh?
Okay.
But yeah, this we chose this one because of the great work in the character of the I forgot the name. Why am I so bad with names?
Salieri
telling the story about Amadeus and how great he was composing and playing and everything, no? So he tells the story all the way from the movie. So that's why we have to see, ¿no? Tenemos que ver a Salieri. Él cuenta la historia de la grandeza como compositor de Amadeus. Y por eso tenemos que verlo en escenas como de joven y otras escenas en donde es más viejo.
Yeah, we see Salieri as an old man reminiscing about his life and how this young kid, Amadeus, drove him crazy because he was jealous of the talent that the young kid had. And it's Dick Smith, like, maybe the best makeup he ever did, or what. It's hard to say because Dick's makeups were all so good. It's like, how can you choose like which one is the best? But it is an amazing makeup.
Sí, bueno, dice Kevin que tal vez sea o el mejor maquillaje que haya hecho Dick Smith, porque es difícil, ¿no? Es difícil escoger entre uno. Lo voy a decir primero en inglés y después lo digo en español. It's just that what happens with Dick Smith for me is that he's such an amazing makeup artist, but he has so different characters through his career. Like first, well, like to mention first, The Exorcist, no?
Right.
It's like a super perfect makeup and design and character, but it's for scary, no? For like to like
Right.
it's blood and disgusting. And then, for example, Taxi Driver, no? That's
Right,
another
yeah.
very like good one, but it's totally different. It's ball cap.
It's just super realistic transformations of the mohawk shaving and the injuries and the wounds and the Brando Godfather, just that subtle aging. It's like, well, that blows my mind.
Yeah.
It's like perfect. Yeah, that was Dick.
But then you see Salieri's makeup. Oh, sorry.
But that's also the fantastic thing about Dick Smith, that he can change his own art into any character.
Sí.
Yeah.
He's not only like the great makeup artist in old aging or blood and horror or making wounds. No, he can do anything.
Sí, exacto.
And it's funny you mentioned The Exorcist, but since we're talking about Dick, to hit on that final makeup for Linda Blair, to make a little kind of round-faced, pretty girl look that scary, took some, experimenting, because those original makeups, and Dick said it's like they were terrible. It's like I just didn't know what to do, and he has like heavy prosthetics and like big eyebrows, and it's like he was so frustrated. But then to get like the simplicity of the final makeup with just like some of the cuts and like the no eyebrows, and it made that pretty little girl look so scary, and it's like it's genius. It's perfect. There you go. That's an artist that could do that.
Claro, sí, lo que dice Gabriel es que justamente la grandeza o la cosa más interesante de los maquillajes o de Dick Smith en sí es que no solamente se encasilla o puede hacer maquillajes buenos de una sola categoría o una sola, pues sí, de maquillaje, ¿no? Que puede hacer algo de miedo, terror, sangriento, sino que también puede hacer, o que simplemente no solamente es un excelente maquillista para personajes de envejecimiento, sino que tiene como toda esta gran variedad y todas le salen bien. Entonces, bueno, y justamente ya tomando tomando como ejemplo el Exorcista, pues comenta Kevin que Dick Smith decía, es que cómo voy a hacer una niña con una carita así redondita, bien bonita, algo que dé mucho miedo, ¿no? Y decía, bueno, pues al final lo logra, ¿no? Al final, pues bueno, hace varias, experimenta bastante con cejas, así muy, muy pesadas, prostéticos, todo. Pues al final es una, sigue como pues el Hombre Lobo, ¿no? También es una de las películas que pues ha inspirado a muchos otros maquillistas y efectos especiales. Entonces, pues bueno, justamente, sí.
I was going to say, Dick was so good that for years and years, people thought Robert De Niro was so dedicated that he actually shaved his head because it's so realistic looking. And it was like, oh yeah, he just shaved his head into a mohawk. It's like, no, he didn't. There's Dick Smith.
Sí, que la gente decía, ay, qué dedicado ese Robert De Niro que se rapó y se hizo una mohawk, ¿cómo se llama eso en español?
¿Moicana?
Una moicana. Y es como, no fue eso, solamente es una magia de Dick Smith.
I have a very little Amadeus story with Dick Smith.
Sí, tell.
Because I knew Dick Smith, and Dick always made a habit. He lived in New York, but he would come to Los Angeles, and he would go around and visit different makeup artists in Los Angeles. just to check in and see what was going on, or he came and gave us Prosaid. He's the one who brought us, because we were using Spirit Gum, and it's all to Dick Smith. When he finished Amadeus, and this was 1982 or 83, I was working for Doug Beswick, who was one of Rick Baker's guys from American Werewolf. He built all the mechanical pieces to make the heads transform. And I was doing sculpture, and I had to sculpt this giant monster for Doug. And Dick came over to visit us, and he wanted to check in and see what we were doing, and to learn, and also to teach, and to show off a little bit, I think, because he had just done Amadeus, and he had these pictures of this beautiful makeup. And it was funny, because he came and he had a picture of F. Murray Abraham as Salieri in the age makeup. And he shows me the picture, and it's like, wow, that looks great. And, obviously. And Dick goes, he says, do you recognize the forehead? And I was like, and he goes, it's a trick question. And it's like, you're freaking me out. It's like, I don't get it. And he goes, it's mine. And Dick always, when he spoke with like a slight lisp. It's like, recognize this forehead? What he did, he took a life cast of his forehead and did a clay pour into it, and then exaggerated the wrinkles a little bit, and applied it to F. Murray Abraham's life cast, and used his forehead as Salieri's forehead. And looking back, for one thing, it turns out afterwards, I found out every shop he went to, he did the same thing. So it became like a running joke for all of us. Whenever we were sculpting anything, like if you were making a gorilla, it's like, recognize this forehead? It just became a makeup artist running joke. But looking back, it's like, what a sweet guy he was. He was so proud of his work. He was so passionate in what he did, and it was a little bit bragging, because rightly so.
But he could do that.
But it was, but it was sharing. It was also, it's like, this is what I did. This is how I did it. It was always information back and forth, and he just wanted everything open and transparent. And that's what I did. It's like I freaked you out, didn't I? He was just so into it. He was so passionate about the work, and I love that about him. And it's, looking back, it's like, what a sweet guy.
Oh. Dice Kevin que tiene una anécdota de justamente cuando Dick Smith estaba haciendo el maquillaje para Salieri, para Amadeus. Dice que, él vivía en Nueva York, pero había veces que iba a Los Ángeles y visitaba a algunos maquillistas para, pues, uno, visitarlos, dos, ver, pues, más o menos qué era lo que se estaba haciendo en aquel entonces. Y dice Kevin, y tal vez un poquito como para presumir también su trabajo, ¿no? Entonces pasa a ver a Kevin y dice Kevin que él estaba trabajando como en una escultura de no me acuerdo si era un perro. It was like you were...
No one ever saw it. It was just a big monster.
Bueno, un monstruo. Llegó Dick Smith y le dice, le enseñó como las fotos y todo, y le dice, oye, ¿reconoces esta frente?
¿Frente?
Ajá, esta frente. Y Kevin como, no. Le hace, sí, mírala bien. Y él como, no, ya me estás asustando, ¿qué, no? Y ya Dick Smith como, ¡es mi frente! Y Kevin como, ok. Entonces lo que hizo él fue, Dick Smith utilizó su propia frente. Lo que hizo fue hacer como un molde y después se vacía plastilina, eso se puede hacer, vaciar plastilina líquida y después se saca como ese pedazo de plastilina con la figura del negativo de Ultracal, y después ya la puedes pegar en el positivo de la persona del que estás esculpiendo. Y ya, eso fue lo que hizo Dick Smith. Utilizó como su propia textura de su frente y su forma, pero le hizo un poquito, como que, ¿cómo se dice? Como que hizo más fuertes las líneas, las arrugas, todo esto, ¿no? Y bueno, pues dice Kevin que se volvió un poco como que una anécdota o un chiste entre los maquillistas, porque Dick Smith pasó con todos los que pasó a saludar, de todos los maquillistas en Los Ángeles, les contaba la misma historia, ¿no? Entonces se volvió como que una anécdota, un chiste entre maquillistas. Le estás haciendo alguna frente o algo y reconoces esta frente y ya todo el mundo sabe que pues era la forma de Dick Smith de platicar sobre su maquillaje de Amadeus, ¿no? Okay, so what I love about this Salieri's old age makeup is that I actually can't see the actor. Like he changed it, everything. He's actually like this ancient Salieri compared with the younger, no? Because to be honest, the actor isn't that young when he's like...
No, he's kind of a middle-aged guy playing a little younger, yeah.
And Dick Smith did this old age makeup, and he looks like even like a little bit like a mummy. It's very old age. It's like it's all like time didn't treat him very well.
Right.
And then when you see at the end of the movie, when you see he is like in a, how do you say that? Como en un mental something, like he went crazy and everyone outside, it's also like that. Then you understand also the makeup, that he hasn't actually had a good time. He actually went through very difficult time, no? And then you see that in the makeup.
Right.
I think you see the envy, no? It's like the personification of all the envy and all the hatred and love he had for Mozart.
But what an amazing thing! Like you can show that in a makeup. It's like, what?
But it's almost like a theatrical. Like if you did it for a stage presentation and you would make like, you would draw on very heavy wrinkles and everything, but Dick showed that like a man poisoned by his own envy, but in a hyper-realistic makeup. But and he's aged harsher than he should have aged just because of his own thought, you know, his own envy and jealousy, and it kind of made him this ugly little old man who now kind of realizes it's like, shit, I kind of wasted my whole life being so jealous, but it's too late. But it's still, you know, it's kind of extreme, but it's a Dick Smith extreme that it's still looks real, you know. But I never thought of it that way, Gabrielle. You're right. It's almost like a theatrical makeup in a way, with prosthetics for a movie.
It's because it is, well, for me it is. All the makeup and even all the hair, it's like very theatrical, but still realistic. Because you can actually, you don't feel that Salieri, yes, he old aged like very badly, but he eats Salieri. I mean, it's still his features, even though it's theatrical. So it's just amazing. He understands the anatomy so brilliantly.
Yeah. And Ellie, if you're able to find video, I mean, we'll see if we can include video in this. There is some of Dick applying, I believe it is the Salieri makeup. And when you, like, all of us know how difficult sometimes it could be to apply some foam latex pieces because it weighs like a feather and it's difficult, and to put a little thin eye bag on, and it's like it's almost sometimes with the heavy gelatin or silicone because it just kind of flops on the face, and then you can Dick, I think it's the Salieri makeup, putting little eye bags on, and Dick missing his finger is like a magician setting it there. It's so natural, and it's like, it looks so easy when he does it, you know, and it's like, that would take me 10 times longer to make sure it was perfect, and Dick is just like, he glues it on, and it's like,
that's it. Okay.
It was one of those people that's he's born to do that specific job in life and nothing else, you know.
Okay. Bueno, estábamos diciendo entonces que justamente una de las cosas que hacen, bueno, que ese maquillaje de Salieri es como para teatro o como escena, como, ¿cómo lo traducirías, Gabriel? Pues sí, ¿no?
Teatral.
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 Decimos que Dick Smith logra entender tan bien la anatomía y el concepto del personaje que envejece con demasiada envidia, con mucho como todo esta sensación de envidia lo corroe de cierta manera o a tal grado que de esa manera es como envejece, y justamente este maquillaje que logra Dick Smith lo muestra, ¿no? Yo les decía que igual se me hace como que ni siquiera puedo ver al actor de alguna manera, o sea, sé que está ahí, pero el maquillaje es tan, o sea, sí lo corroe tanto y sí lo corrompe tanto. También al final siento que cuando ya vemos las escenas finales que él está como que en este centro para locos o como que enfermos mentales o que ya perdieron como que el sentido, entendemos también un poco más incluso el concepto del maquillaje. A mí se me hace como tipo, como que está así súper viejo, tipo ya casi llegando a momia, pero todavía no es una momia, pero va para allá, ¿no? Es como, y bueno, pues justamente todo Kevin comenta, ¿no? Que es como ya el señor se da cuenta que pues todo ese tiempo vivió arrepentido o vivió como con este sentimiento de envidia. Y ya en ese entonces, en ese momento que le están haciendo o que él está confesando al sacerdote, pues ya se da cuenta que ya no puede hacer nada y pues ya, ¿no? Pero sí Dick Smith tiene este entendimiento, decía Gabriel, de la anatomía de manera tan brillante que cómo es posible que pueda con las prótesis y con el maquillaje transmitir o comunicar cómo es que una persona se puede corroer con la envidia, ¿no? Es algo muy interesante, muy chido.
Sí.
Okay, so something else about Amadeus. Decía también Kevin que Dick Smith tiene como esta magia, ¿no? Como que él nació justamente para hacer ese trabajo. Cuando hay videos que hay de Dick Smith aplicando maquillaje, aplicando prótesis, y hay algunas piezas muy chiquititas. El foam látex es muy ligero y a veces cuesta un poquito más de trabajo que aplicarlo que una pieza de silicón. Pero él es como, sí, lo hace tan fácil, ver como si fuera tan sencillo y tan perfecto, ¿no? Entonces, pues, comenta Kevin que justamente ese era como Dick Smith nació para hacer este trabajo.
It was so natural because you have a fear, like when you're going to put this super thin foam piece down that is like don't mess up. Like I have to get it perfect. And Dick was just like, there we go. And he made mistakes and he would fix it, but it's like he was just like fearless, you know, with that. He was just had that bravery and the confidence that I can do this. He would do it.
Yeah. Pues ahí está, chicos. Amadeus, 1984, y bueno, ganó el premio en 1985. Bueno, vamos a pasar a nuestra...
And one thing, I'm sorry, I was just going to say one thing more. Later, Dick won a second Academy Award, like an honorary Lifetime Achievement
sí.
Yes.
Award that Rick Baker presented for Dick, because at that point, unfortunately, Dick really wasn't able to... That's the last time I saw Dick was in that period. He wasn't able to really speak for himself, but he got a Lifetime Achievement.
Yes.
And Jill Rockow was there with him. She was like his companion and caregiver, super sweet, kind person. And so Dick actually got 2.
Sí, bueno, que Dick Smith le dieron un Lifetime Achievement como de por vida, como un premio de por vida por parte de la academia, de todo, o de no de por vida, sino como de todo el trabajo que hizo a lo largo de su vida. Ajá, le dieron un premio de la academia de esto. Ya el premio lo recibió él, pero más bien Rick Baker fue el que pasó a dar algunas palabras. De hecho, tengo que presumir que estuve presente en en esa ocasión y conocí a Dick Smith, pero solamente, solamente lo vi, estaba detrás de mí y él como levantó su mano con 4 deditos y ya fue como de no. O sea, obviamente nunca hablé con él ni nada, ¿no? Pero lo vi detrás de mí y fue como, uy, qué bonito. Y ya, y bueno, pues le dieron este premio, ¿no? Ya en ese entonces.
Is that when you were there?
Sí.
Okay.
¿Qué hacías ahí?
Lo que pasa es que estaba en Cinema Makeup estudiando el de prostéticos y por parte de Cinema nos dijeron va a haber esta como es que remasterizaron The Exorcist y entonces nos invitaron a verlo. Pero Rick Baker estaba invitado también para ver la remasterización, porque era la primera vez que le iban a reproducir, presentar, y pues obviamente también estaba ahí Dick Smith, entonces fuimos por parte de Cinema Makeup School.
Fancy.
Sí. Y pues bueno, ya en ese entonces ya Dick tenía Alzheimer, ya se olvidó como todo. Esa es otra de las pues puntos, ¿no? Que son tristes en la historia, un gran maquillista con grandes que le aportó tanto a la industria y bueno, pues al final ya no recordaba mucho de lo que había hecho, pero bueno. Pues, o nada. Así es. Pero bueno, se queda con nosotros. It stays with us with all the knowledge and everything that he shared. So
it amazed me when I was a kid in 1970 78, I would drive over to his house because I lived in Connecticut and he was in New York State. How generous he was. And I was just this goofy kid that would come in and annoy him. It's like, how'd you do that? Like, what's this? I mean, I was very respectful, and I always called him Mr. Smith, but it's like, he would just like, oh, here, take this. I still have them, like printouts of formulas for like hair whitening, like he used on The Godfather. It's like, this is what I did on Brando. It's like, here, take this. And then some stuff he'd go, it's too advanced for you. Here, take this. And all around there was the Linda Blair dummy that with the head that spun around is sitting on a shelf, and the taxi driver hand with the fingers shot off would be sitting on a shelf. And I was just like, oh my God. But he was just so nice. No. And I really, I only knew him a very little bit, but I really miss, like that presence in the business and in the world that was that generous and that kind.
Eso eso que acaba de decir Kevin está súper lindo, ¿no? Dice, no lo traté todo el tiempo, sí lo conoció, aprendió de él. Dice, pero bueno, ya ahora que ya no está, como que se extraña esa presencia en el mundo, ¿no? De una persona así tan generosa.
Okay, so now we go up to
Terminator 2.
Terminator 2.
Okay.
Sí.
And Stan Winston.
Stan Winston con su magnífico trabajo, como siempre, de pues robots, títeres, mecánica,
naves, láseres.
Sí. Esta parte de Terminator 2 realmente, o sea, sí hay maquillaje, porque también pues hay algunas aplicaciones, ¿no? Para Schwarzenegger. Estaba viendo algunos videos y cómo pronuncian Schwarzenegger.
Y que en realidad no se pronuncia así, pero bueno.
Ajá, bueno.
¿No? Pero, pues,
la película es de 1991. Gana el Oscar en 1992 y sí, justamente está como que a nombre de Stan Winston, pero también hay otro equipo, ¿no? Es justamente Stan comenta en uno de los videos que es un equipo enorme de personas que lo ayudan, que hacen todo el trabajo, dice Stan, y yo me llevo todo el crédito. That I saw this video where he's talking about it's like a big crew and a lot of people behind everything, but I take all the credit.
That's
true.
I had only met Stan one time when he was working on, what was the name of the movie? Dead.
My condition is contagious.
Yeah, no,
No, please.
I went to see Tom Berman. Rick Baker told me to go see Tom Berman, and up at Universal Studios when they still had the makeup department there. And Tom Berman said, go over to see Stan Winston. Here's his address. And I went over, and I knocked on the door, and Stan came up, and he was the only one there that day. It's like, yeah. It's like, oh, hi, I'm Kevin. Tom Berman said I should come by and like say hello. And Stan goes, without calling first? Like, I fucked up. And Stan's like, all right, come in. And he was making this like dead, like skeleton puppet thing, like a zombie thing. And he was really nice. But Stan was more of like a producer compared to like Rick or Dick that actually could make everything. Stan was more of a like overseer, a coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was his strength. You know, like if you look at something as epic as Jurassic Park, you know, Stan's not out there sculpting the dinosaurs, but he can coordinate all those people and get all that stuff done. And that was his strong suit.
And maybe that's also like the most probably important thing sometimes, because you can be very creative, you can do like a lot of stuff, but then if there is no way to show it in a proper way, it doesn't matter.
No, I mean, you might be doing the greatest, you might be like, you know, very eccentric, like H.R. Giger, but maybe you're not, and I'm not saying he wasn't a good businessman, but maybe you're like so creative that you're not involved with it. No, but okay, maybe a bad example, but maybe you're not a good businessman, is my point. You know, you have to kind of balance both.
Claro.
And Stan was an excellent, like in the old-fashioned term, a showman. You know, like I could put on a show for you, and he did. And with Terminator 2, and mixing all the different, you know, prosthetics on Schwarzenegger and the puppet heads, you know, and the bullet hits, and now it's CGI comes into it, but it's also this practical, like the bullet impacts on the T-1000, I guess it is. And those were actual, you know, like foam latex that was painted like chrome that would pop open, and the head that would split. And the mix of all that, it's amazing. It was great. The coordination too between the effects, different departments, you know.
Well, it proves that everything can work together. I mean, you don't only need practical effects, you can actually mash up visual effects, well, in that time, CGI, and make a final product that actually looks amazing and realistic.
Sí.
Because in one shot, you have the T-1000, sorry, you can see all the reflections of the Coca-Cola, well, it's Pepsi, if I yeah, it's Pepsi, sorry.
Get it
and
right.
you can see all the reflections there, and all the other lights, how they just reflect the light. It's amazing. For the time period, it's just an amazing job.
Sí. Yeah. Exacto. Bueno, estábamos platicando entonces que dice Kevin que él conoció una vez a Stan Winston. Tom Berman le dijo, vete a ver a Stan, y le dio la dirección. Y llegó Kevin, tocó la puerta y le dice, hola, soy Kevin, Tom me dijo que viniera a buscarte. Y Stan Winston como, sin llamarla por teléfono antes. Bueno, ya pásate, ¿no? Y ya pues lo dejó entrar y todo, estuvo con él. Y ya, pues bueno, estuvo ahí con él un rato. Dice que estaba trabajando como en una escultura de algo como zombiesco. Y bueno, pues lo que estábamos diciendo es que están más allá de hacer como él toda la parte de escultura o de pues procesos con él solo o pues sí, ¿cómo llamarlo? Manuales. creativos, artísticos. Él es más bien como la parte de planear, ¿no? La parte de ¿cómo se dice, Gabriel, cuando...?
Pues digamos en pocas palabras que los artistas somos regüeyes para vendernos, entonces necesitamos a alguien que nos venda, ¿no? Entonces literalmente él tenía aquí su séquito de gente y les decía, van a hacer esto, las ideas venían de él, pero tenía la gente que podía hacerlo, entonces, lo cual también es muy válido, yo.
Sí, definitivamente se necesitan las dos cosas, ¿no? Que era lo que les decía, o sea, puedes ser muy creativo y hacer cosas súper bonitas y todo, pero si al final eso no lo sabes vender, no lo sabes planear, no tienes como la manera de mostrarlo, pues a veces no hay mucho que hacer, ¿no? Entonces, pues Stan Winston es esta persona. Terminator 2 tiene muchísimo trabajo de muchas maneras, ¿no? Hay prótesis, hay robots, por eso estábamos comentando esto al principio que empezamos a hablar de Terminator 2. Es una combinación también en su momento de maquillaje, también con efectos especiales visuales y ya empieza también a haber un poquito de computadora.
And the big, like the puppets of the robot endoskeletons that were all practical, walking along. Yeah. All of that stuff too.
For me, I see it like big stop motion, new way of doing, or like modern kind of stop motion, ¿no? Porque pues, sí.
Well, it's with the Liquid, the T1000. There was CGI coming in, and it's like, okay, stop motion is over, and now it's going to be computer.
See, but like you said, when they are like with the robot and they have to walk with them, and the person that is walking has to limp or something, it's a little bit like stop motion. It's not stop motion, but it's like the kind of modern way to see it, because you have to also
stop motion.
Exacto, así.
I do have a Terminator story. I think I told you, maybe Ellie, before. I was Doug Beswick, when Dick Smith came over with the Amadeus forehead. When I was working for him, he called me up and I went over to his house and he said, I need you to sculpt this little figure. And it was a human skeleton, but he looked like a machine, like a metal human skeleton. But like and I was looking at it, it's like, I think I was going to do something else, and I was looking at that, and it's like, man, that doesn't look real fun. It's too hard. And I said, nah. It was the first Terminator stop motion puppet, and it's like, you idiot.
Why?
I'm sure because it looked like a pain in the ass. Like everything had to be so perfect, and I was just a crazy kid. And it's like I'd rather sculpt like freeform, like more monster organic stuff. And it's like, God damn it! I could have been. I could have worked on Terminator. But, anyway.
Well, now we have a good story only. Dice Kevin que estuvo así de trabajar en Terminator porque llegó alguien a decirle, oye, necesito que me hagas la escultura de este diseño, y pues era así como que un robot con estructura, o sea, un humano con estructura de robot, como pues tipo así cyborg casi, y Kevin fue como, es que como diríamos en español, era loco, joven y alocado. Dijo, nah, qué flojera. Dijo, no, qué flojera.
I was just lazy that day. I just felt lazy. That looks like hard work, so.
Y lo rechazó, y era el primer diseño del Terminator, ¿no? Dice, ay, ya cuando se dio cuenta de lo que era y perdió el trabajo, fue como de, qué tonto. Pero bueno.
Well.
Okay, guys, something else from Terminator 2?
Everything. The wounds, the eye of the Terminator, all the reflection. I mean, I'm obsessed with the reflections of the T1000. I mean, it's crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah,
it's just so perfect.
And the
final, work. Yeah, and the final stage when he's just like so messed up, and he just goes into the lava pit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing. Just amazing.
It was pretty groundbreaking that the advancement in the special effects at that point, like the fire when he's lowered into the lava and the Schwarzenegger's on the chain and the fire as it flames up as he goes in, how they can composite that all together looks really natural. Mm-hmm. It's not like obvious overlays of anything. Mm-hmm. And that was very difficult at that point. Now it's
for me, Terminator starts with like a moment in the movies, like to take them into another level, because with werewolf and like the movies we were talking before, we know that back then a lot of things weren't able to be done easily. Mm-hmm. But now then 10 years after, now we have like it jumped to another kind of level, no? Mechanical, like to do things, to elaborate them, to perform them. So it like if we see it that way, it's like 10 years after, and then it's like it grew, and this is how it grew, no?
And even less years between Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, because there are only 7 years in between, and you can see just the amazing achievements they did in so little amount of time. It's just crazy.
Yeah. And a lot of that is James Cameron was pushing for that. Because he started out, he wasn't always a director. He started out as a special effects guy. He worked on Escape from New York and doing glass paintings and basic special effects. So he knows, like he knew special effects and photography, and and he understood like how to make it better. Like one of those guys, like kind of like Rick and Dick. It's like was born to do that one thing and make it better, progress. I think outside the box and expand upon the existing technology.
Yes. Pues también ellos estaban hechos para eso. Es un excelente. Yo lo que les decía era que siento que es un nivel, pasó a un nivel más alto después de 10 años que estuvimos platicando de Werewolf y Amadeus. Ahora en los 90s vino o llegó esta nueva ola de hacer maquillaje o de hacer efectos especiales de otra manera más. Yo siento que entra como que un poco a la modernidad, ¿no? Esta parte de combinación de metales, robots, lo que dice Gabriel, ¿no? Las heridas ya son otro empiezan a ser otro nivel. Kevin, maybe it's also because of the materials that started like you think it has to do something with the like materials were different, or they were like developing new ones, or
Terminator 2? Mm-hmm. Well, it was still foam latex, but I think a lot of Stan's, not to take away from Stan's Oscar, but I think a lot of it had to do with all of his work combined with the CGI that was just coming up. Kind of got the Academy Award for that. Okay. It was still foam latex. Nothing moved into silicone yet. I don't think it would have made any big difference if that stuff was made out of silicone or foam.
But like with the puppets, the way to do them, no.
The puppets were done basically the same way as the first Terminator. Mm-hmm. They were just, fiberglass or whatever resin they were casting them out of. It was just cool designs, which mostly came from James Cameron.
Sí, que
designed the
platicábamos que realmente también, pues, sí fue trabajo del equipo de Stan Winston y la producción de Stan Winston, pero pues los diseños, todo el look, el diseño de los personajes de Terminator en sí, pues es idea y creación de James Cameron.
Because, there are, you mentioned like the advances in the materials, and it's valid. Yes, silicone is better than foam latex, but in certain circumstances. But just to argue with you for a second.
No, I was just asking.
Not to argue.
I don't need to argue.
Not to argue, but just to put a question out there. If you look at Brando, Dick Smith, Brando Godfather makeup, which is just stipple with the dental plumpers, and it's like, that's the way to do it. Perfect. You look at Rick Baker doing Eddie Murphy, Nutty Professor, that has this much foam latex on him, but it's like, looks like a human.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what you're using. If you're that level, like those guys, like just perfect at it, they can make it. You could take a piece of cement. Those guys could. I can't, but they could take a piece of plaster and paint it, and it would look like skin. You know, that's how good they were.
Okay.
You know, just to.
Sí. No, es que le decía a Kevin de que a lo mejor pudo haber sido tener algo que ver que había materiales nuevos o algo más moderno, o no sé, y dice, nada que ver. Si eres muy buen, si eres súper creativo.
Your humble opinion?
That's all. I'm in a camper in Texas. I don't know anything.
I need to agree on this one with him.
Sí, no, yo también estoy de acuerdo con él. Que sí, o sea,
because
sí,
the progress was at the CGI level, not at the makeup level.
Sí.
Yeah,
in this movie.
Yeah, there was really no different. There was just more of it. There was a lot of stuff, but it wasn't any better. It was just more of it. It was good. It was great, but it was just, they had a bigger budget and they did more stuff. That's all.
Claro. Está bueno. Está bueno. So, should we go to our almost last one?
Oh, Darkest Hour.
No. We still have
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, we have two more.
Sí.
Yeah. 1993, and I choose this one because you can actually have a glimpse of our job. That's why I choose that. I must confess that's why. I mean, probably that's one of the many movies that inspired me to be a makeup artist. It's because it's a lot of job and you only see the finished look, but to see these glimpses of our job in the movie and being part of the story to tell is just so sweet. I'm in love with that. Sorry. And I hope you appreciate it also, because it's just marvelous, this part when you see Robin Williams and his brother, who is actually a makeup artist, and also his boyfriend or husband, I don't know, that changed him into very different characters only with makeup to the final look of Mrs. Doubtfire. No. So that sequence is just amazing, not only because you have this outstanding actor, but the level of all the pieces and all the characters he can play alongside the makeup.
Yes. I think this movie shows Robin Williams like he was a little bit, no? Because he starts with this cartoon and he's like... how do you say, like giving voice to this cartoon, and he's like, and then suddenly he becomes a old lady, and so you can see like a big different Robbie Williams in all the movies, but in just one, but it's him at the end, no?
And it's amazing.
We should say that was Greg Canham did that makeup. Who I worked with several times over the years. Actually, if you watch the TV show Face Off, that's that was shot in Greg's studio where I worked on Pirates of the Caribbean and Passion of the Christ and Van Helsing and all that, because it was a big shop that they just used. Greg is an extremely talented makeup artist and almost, or maybe as good as Dick was with old age makeups, like the sculptures. He's done amazing work.
Sí, ahí es.
Very talented guy.
Dice Kevin que bueno, él trabajó con Greg Canham, en donde se filma o se graba, más bien graba, el Face Off, es en donde era antes el estudio de Greg. Y bueno, pues él trabajó para Piratas del Caribe, Van Helsing y algunas otras películas, La Pasión de Cristo. Estamos platicando justamente pues que esta película muestra varias de las facetas y que bueno, el actor, ¿no? Robin Williams es pues bueno, era una persona maravillosa, un actor que tenía muchísimas podía mostrar muchísimas facetas al momento de actuar, y pues nos gusta mucho este personaje de Mrs. Doubtfire. Dice Gabriel que lo escoge porque para ella es como nos muestra cómo es realmente el trabajo del maquillista, ¿no? Igual si quieres platicarnos tú un poco más como en español.
En español, sí, podemos ver muchos de los procesos, desde toma de impresión, los moldes, la creación de los mismos prostéticos, porque además lo padre de esto es que son varios prostéticos para lograr a Mrs. Doubtfire, pero es una máscara completa en ciertas escenas específicas para que obviamente durante la película tú no veas que se está quitando prostético por prostético, porque le quitaría el chiste, básicamente, ¿no? Entonces, obviamente tienen estas otras caras completas que le facilitan al actor el hecho de, sí, me lo quito y me transformo, ¿no? O sea, lo hace ver sencillo. Claro. También eso es muy padre. So, sí. I mentioned also that there's the prosthetic makeup with the little pieces to create the whole Mrs. Doubtfire look, and also the other scenes when you can see like this full face of Mrs. Doubtfire, only to make it simple story-wise, to take it off and put it on, no?
Well, it's like the old Mission Impossible where you just put a face on, and then it's like, and you could just walk by people and they're like, hello. And it's like, hello. It's like, that won't work, but for a TV or a movie, it's like, okay.
Claro. Sí, pues Greg Canham es el que hace todo y la aplicación, pues es una aplicación como todas las que hace Vinyl, ¿no? Muy bonitas. Uh-huh. Ella tiene este don de hacer aplicaciones muy limpias, muy limpias, súper bien hechas. También ella hace pues hace la pigmentación, el maquillaje de las prótesis. Y pues bueno, es un trabajo en conjunto en el que ganan el Oscar en 1994. ¿Algo más sobre Mrs. Doubtfire, chicos?
I guess. I don't have much more to add, unless you do, Gabriel.
Well, besides that, I actually love it.
It's a movie, for me it's a movie that from when I was a little kid. And I think I didn't actually understand back then when I was a little kid, like, what? He's turning, like, how is he doing that?
Yeah.
For me, it's a comedy, and when I saw it as a child, it was like, it was a blast, actually, and it was, like, very funny and all that. Now, as a grown-up, I feel like it's just so sad.
Sí.
It's horrible. I was almost crying because it was like, what? He's not like the best dad ever, but he's trying and he's making his best, and they don't let him see their children. I mean, it was like,
and then he has to dress like an old lady, like a babysitter to see them,
like a very British English lady.
Sí.
Why?
It makes perfect sense. Yeah, why wouldn't you? No, of course, it's like a ridiculous slapstick, almost 1930s sort of outrageous, you do the craziest thing, but there's like drama at the core of it.
Yeah. Ok, bueno, pues esa fue nuestra cuarta película ganadora del Oscar, que bueno, yo creo que básicamente y que justamente ganó en este año, pues por todo el trabajo de las prótesis en cachos, diría Gabriel, ¿no? Que es, pues son todas un pedacito para que justamente se pueda generar la gesticulación del rostro. Y bueno, pues la aplicación y sobre todo creo que lo que la hizo ganar el Oscar fue que transformaron a Robin Williams en esta señora, ¿no? Ese trabajo de diseño de anatomía, pues para crear a esta señora, ¿no? De Dubfire. Y bueno, pues justamente tomando en cuenta pues esta última parte de cómo hacer varias piezas, pues vamos a pasar a The Darkest Hour. Ya nos pasamos desde 1994, nos vamos a saltar hasta el 2017. Es una película que de Joe Wright, y pues nos habla de un periodo en la historia, la Segunda Guerra Mundial, en el que Winston Churchill pasa a ser primer ministro de Inglaterra, y pues tiene sobre él todo el peso de hacer estrategia para que pues no lleguen las tropas de Alemania a Inglaterra, ¿no? Entonces, pues básicamente, bueno, Kevin, you wanna say something about this Darkest Hour?
All I will say, it's Kazuhiro Tsuji, who was a Rick Baker guy, like his main guy for a long time, was in charge of the makeup. And this, like with Mrs. Doubtfire, they wanted Robin Williams to show through a little bit of the makeup. To me, it always looked just like a makeup. Like if I saw that person in real life, it would look like someone in makeup. The Darkest Hour Churchill makeup, and I know they went through several different tests, like how extreme and how to pull it back and whatever. They ended up where you could see Gary Oldman and you could also see Churchill. It looks so natural to me. It looks so clean. And again, in my humble opinion, it's beautiful.
Inside my camper.
It's just, I watched that movie in the theater. So, the makeup is 40 feet high, and it's like, God damn, it's beautiful, and the way it moves, the way it was sculpted, the way it was designed, where the edges would go, that nothing would conflict with the other one. It was so thought out and beautiful.
Dice Kevin
and you get the character of Churchill, and you get the character of the actor too. It's like it's not lost.
It's not what?
Well, you don't lose Gary Oldman, but you don't lose Winston Churchill either. You kind of get a synthesis of both, and it was beautiful, and it's super, super clean.
Sí, dice Kevin que lo que a él le gusta es que, bueno, que hubieron varias etapas de experimentación para que realmente Gary Oldman se pareciera un poquito a Winston. Era lo que decían, que cuando hicieron el diseño del personaje, pues realmente Gary Oldman no se parecía o no tenía nada que ver con Winston Churchill, ¿no? Entonces, pues bueno, Kazuhiro, que es quien está a cargo del diseño de este maquillaje, pues hizo varias pruebas. Kazuhiro fue por mucho tiempo parte del equipo principal, o si no es que alguien muy cercano a Rick Baker. También lo conocemos por la aplicación del Grinch. Entonces, bueno, pues él justamente hace este trabajo de diseño de cómo de las líneas, o sea, de los bordes de la prótesis, que realmente encajen uno con otro. Para Kevin, bueno, dice que él cree que es un maquillaje muy limpio y que realmente si él lo viera en la calle a una persona, pues no, o sea, no se daría cuenta que tal vez es un maquillaje, a comparación de tomando el ejemplo de Mrs. Doubtfire, que para él siente que es más como, que sí se ve como maquillaje, ¿no? Y bueno, ese es otro punto, a comparación de Mrs. Doubtfire, las piezas de ahí eran de foam látex y las del The Darkest Hour es puro silicón, ¿no? Y que también hace pues que sea un poco más, digamos que fácil, o que sea más parecida la textura a la piel que el foam látex, que al final, como dice Kevin, no tiene nada que ver con el material, porque si lo sabes aplicar y lo sabes sobre todo pintar y tener bien clara el color que vas a poner, no importa si es plastilina, si es cemento, si es foam látex, si es silicón, el trabajo de pintura pues lo hace todo, ¿no? I was okay. Tell.
I was just gonna. The one thing while you were talking, it made me think of the Bela Lugosi makeup in Ed Wood, the movie Ed Wood, that Rick Baker did on Martin Landau, which wasn't directly Bela Lugosi, but you could kind of see it in an actor that his facial shape was nothing like Bela Lugosi's face shape, but you kind of got it, and that's kind of what they did with Churchill in The Darkest Hour. You got an approximation of, at certain angles you could buy into that's that guy. It's not just like you're putting on a Abraham Lincoln mask. You're doing a combination of an actor and the makeup, and you want both to work together, and that's super difficult, and it's very interesting, and they did it so good. Anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sí, aparte justamente, bueno, dice Kevin, ¿no? Que es la combinación de poder hacer que la apariencia del actor no se pierda, y que aun cuando veas que es Winston Churchill, sabes que también es Gary Oldman, ¿no? Una de las cosas que yo quería también añadir, pues era que ellos hacen, producen para cada vez que se va a hacer alguna, que van a grabar, producen diferentes, o una serie de piezas, pueden ser 5 piezas, por ejemplo, de la misma parte de la cara, ¿no? Porque justamente pues no se pueden reutilizar las piezas de prostéticos, como ya se adherió a la piel y después la orilla se estropea, ¿no? Entonces hay unas escenas de cómo es que tratan del trabajo de pintura de las venas, y cómo es que pues la continuidad, ¿no? Como luego platicamos con Gabriel, de que realmente todas las piezas se tienen que ver pintadas igual, con la misma vena y todo, ¿no?
En el mismo sitio.
Sí, en el mismo sitio. I'm saying that there are some images where they have to paint like
the veins,
but the same for all the pieces, no? If they have 20,
over.
The same. The 20 pieces have to be the same for the veins, for the color, for everything.
Which is another amazing strength as a makeup artist that you have to have, which I admit I kind of don't, to do that continuity through like a whole shooting, I get bored very easily. It's like, if I do it once, it's like, done, I'm done. But no, to keep that up, and especially something natural, just a human natural thing. Those guys were amazing.
No.
It was a beautiful, beautiful makeup. And when I watched that movie, as much as I was interested in the story, because I'm kind of a fan of history and World War II, I was always looking at Gary Oldman's makeup, and it's like, God damn, it's like...
The best part of this
so
makeup is a double chin. For me, that's like, a great piece.
And it's like, I know that's Gary Oldman, but now, like, I'm thinking he's Winston Churchill. But it's like, that's Gary Oldman. Is it? And it's like I'm looking at like a movement.
Sí,
I'm waiting for something to mess up. It's like, man.
And also the lips.
Yeah.
Oh my God, those lips are amazing.
Yeah.
Sí, todas. Bueno, que las piezas, yo les digo que mi parte favorita de todas las prótesis es la papada, porque realmente ahí es en donde vemos el movimiento, ¿no? Sí, es en donde tiene más como roce con la ropa, con como otras, ¿no? Y a lo mejor sí, o sea, todo.
You watch like this, it's like, oh, I hope it's like don't fall off.
Sí, exacto. Dice Kevin.
Of course it wouldn't be in the movie.
Uno lo ve y dice, ay, que no se le vaya a caer la papada o la prótesis, ¿no? Pero es que está tan bien hecho. Because also, Kevin, like how heavy that is, like.
I know that's silicone too, but they were really clever the way they broke it down into the different pieces. But yeah, foam would have been lighter, but the way the silicone moves and the way it photographs, and I think it's just what production demands now.
And they
it's
didn't.
Like if you sit.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry?
No. Tell. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I think production, if you showed up with like, I'm going to do, this is going to be foam rubber, they'd be like, what are you, from the 1984? This has to be silicone. Even if maybe it would be better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was going to say that they even did pieces for here, like for the neck, and they are huge pieces. It's like
they were big.
Sí, no, hombre. I would be very, very nervous, like to apply a piece like that. Maybe I don't know.
Even, I mean, that's what Josh does. You know, he runs all the silicone, you know, for Hellboy and all those movies, and he pours all those big cowls, and it's like you're dealing with, you know, a couple $1,000s worth of material each time you pour it, you know, on those big runs.
Y cágala, no.
But then, and then again, you know, you put it on the actor that has to wear this stuff. And I've been through that, and it's like every ounce counts, you know, every pound, you're wearing me down.
Dice que at the end
At
the end they were like waiting all the prosthetics that they've been using along the movie.
Oh, I saw that video, yeah, where they scooped them all up.
And it was like 15 kilos that they had already carrying. Loco.
Yeah, it's funny.
Okay, guys. Well, this was our last movie. I don't know if you wanna add something to it, or if you want to mention something more from the Academy Awards winners.
Are we? Okay, here's a question. Are we going to have any this year? Because there's been no movies.
That's a good question.
That's a very good question.
I think
just thought of that. It's like,
yeah,
is this the year we have no Oscars?
Well, we will know in February.
Will Cobra Kai
movies,
win
but
the
we
Academy
have like.
Award? It's the only thing to watch. Is something on Netflix.
¿Qué ibas a decir, Gabriel?
Well, we got movies, but we don't have like lots and lots of movies to choose from. So I don't know what's going to do the Academy. What's going to do, because it's very politic. Also, it's a lot of politics in there. And probably because of that, there are going to be, but yeah, we are going to wait, no, to see which are going to be their nominees. But I don't see the point.
Exactly.
Well, I haven't been to the movies for a year almost, so I have no idea. Anyways, it was just an abstract question I put out there.
Pero ya nada más para dar así el dato, que me parece buena idea, son 38 años que se han nominado y dado premios de la Academia para la categoría de maquillaje, efectos especiales. Creo que son diferentes, ¿no? Uno es de maquillaje y el otro es de efectos especiales. Porque aparte pues hay la categoría de efectos especiales pero visuales, ¿no? Entonces, bueno, el que estamos platicando es maquillaje y peinado.
Es maquillaje.
Ajá, maquillaje. Entonces son 38 años, 38 películas, de las cuales solamente escogimos 5.
What I would like to say before we go, if anybody is watching this, any of the movies we talked about, Ray Harryhausen, Willis O'Brien, Dick Smith, Rick Baker, Stan Winston,
Greg Cannon,
check out
Vinyl.
Yeah, check out those movies. If you're at all interested in movies, and you don't want to go back into the history of movies, you should really do yourself a favor and kind of check that out and see where everything has come from.
Yes.
And I think you will be happy.
Exacto. Bueno, pues muchas gracias.
In my humble opinion, as Kevin says.
What's that?
In my humble opinion, as Kevin says.
In my humble opinion.
In my humble opinion. We need part 2 of this.
Okay.
Of Oscar-winning movies.
What?
Because it's like 38 years of Oscar-winning movies in the makeup area, and we only pick 5. I think we need to put someone more new ones, if you wish to say so.
Va, me late. Okay. Yeah, let's do part.
That's my humble opinion.
Let's do part 2.
All right, yeah, I mean, we're doing kind of classics, but yeah, why not? Okay.
Totally. Muy bien, chicos. Pues muchas gracias. Les mando.
Hopefully, I will see you again, and there won't be a civil war here in the United States.
Hope not.
I will still be alive.
Please, yes. Sí, vas a ver, todo va a estar bien. Igual, cuídense mucho a la gente que nos ve por YouTube. Suscríbanse o síganos por Facebook o Instagram, Makeup Design Workshop o @MDW_Riviera Maya. Nos vemos en la próxima.
Do it. Do it. I'm telling you.
Y muchas gracias, Gabriel y Kevin. Les mando muchos besos y abrazos.
I love you guys.
Adiós.
Love you.
Yes.